What's going on, Soul Tribe? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and bringing another little nugget to add to the Soul Tribe archive. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Venus in Taurus in the second house. I'm like, look at Venus getting that money, though. Venus is raking it in. Now, when you talk about the lovely Venus, Venus is about the things that we desire and that we love. You know, Venus brings about this sense of harmony and concord and just really makes this journey more pleasant. Whether it's it could be through the senses, whether it's the smell of a flower, the taste of good food, the sound of music, the sight of art, the feel of some fine fabric. Those are those Venusian things, but also creativity. That ability to express oneself. Whether that be in music and dance and art. Again, however that might look, and also, too, Venus is the lesser benefic. So, especially if you have a night chart, you want to really want to work with Venus because Venus is going to be most benefic in a night chart. So, keep that in mind. Now, when you talk about Taurus, this is a lovely place for Venus to be too because Venus is at home in Taurus. So this is where you find this when the celestial bodies are in their domicile. And when that happens, they just have the resources that they need to provide for themselves. There's just a very self-sustaining energy in Taurus. It's like, imagine it's just like you being at home. You have just everything. You know where everything's at. You got everything that you need. We're comfortable. And Taurus is the fixed earth sign, and they are receptive or yin in nature. And I find that Taurus does have a way of really kind of accumulating these, the resources in life. When Taurus sets its mind to something, it's going to, that fixed energy gives them the stamina. When you think about like a farmer, for example, they're tending to the land day in, day out, they're taking care of the thing, and then it provides this lush fruits and veggies and all of those good things that the earth has to provide there. And I think that there is a real syncing up between the nature in Taurus, that energy of being outside and appreciating the flow of life, going at nature's pace. You can't rush Taurus. So yeah, it's but again, a very practical energy when we were thinking about with Taurus. I like to think that they build things of just like long-lasting beauty. And then when you deal with the second house, this house was known in ancient astrology as the Gate of Hades, a bit of an intense title, but it's one of the succeeding houses, and some of the themes that it's going to cover would deal with like your finances, your livelihood, and like possessions. So when you're working with this placement, a couple of things to consider. You have an Aries rising by whole sign, and you don't have to look too far to see who rules this house because Venus does. And Venus is going to import the themes of the seventh house to this house, which deals with like relationships, marriages, partners, and other people. So one thing right off the bat is that, this hopefully is, especially if you got a night chart, this is a very self-sustaining Venus. This could be where you could find a lot of blessings here, whether it be a lot of blessings with the night chart or even just like a moderate amount of blessings with the day chart, where Venus is bringing some goodness there. And it could be through exploring those kind of Venusian things. And I would think with it ruling that seventh house, where you're selling services, where you're forming relationships. And this could be from, maybe you're making perfumes to maybe you're doing something with fashion. Maybe like a barber. Maybe there's something with music. Maybe you're building instruments. Maybe you're doing landscaping, embroidery. The list goes on with the sculpting. It really goes on with Venus. So I think that it really is finding those things that you're attracted to, the things that you really enjoy, that you find pleasant, and then forming those relationships. This could be where, I just got an idea, maybe you do something with like dance, or maybe you're involved in some kind of band, or where that kind of other people are kind of getting involved with. But maybe even some kind of collaborative, some sort of ventures there where you're forming something with other people. That could be another thing where they're helping you to maybe kind of fund your ideas and things like that. Not necessarily fund it, but maybe you're paying people to help you kind of manage the things that you're trying to build there. Well, again, whatever that may look like for you. But I also would think too, just kind of investing in oneself. Doing things like, I think Taurus is not just a bougie sign, but I think that is one that does, I think, benefit having like quality things. So instead of maybe getting that couch that you like with the plush seats, or having that maybe with the bed threads with the hot thread count. That's maybe something to consider there. And just depending on, and that might be something too, where if you're wanting to think about marriage, that may be somewhere you want to have your livelihood and things set up there, so that you're thinking about what you're bringing to the relationship. Paying attention to how, maybe how you're attracting resources. That might be another thing to kind of pay attention to, where that kind of money and resources are flowing from. But yeah, I really can see this as a very entrepreneurial sort of Venus placement. Venus is, yeah, it's like, you're thinking like beauty and things like that, but Venus can rake in the dough, and really kind of bring in a lot of benefits here, whether it be through finance, again, through possessions, or just getting just general support from people. And I would even think too, investing in, because I would think it's one-on-one relationships of any kind. So even like a mentor sort of thing. So investing in things that help to strengthen your craft, whether that be, yeah, teacher, sensei, guru, whatever that might look like for you. I think that would be a very, very useful way of working with that, to help enhance your skills, so that you can increase the price, the value of your services. And that's something too. Know your worth. Know that your skills are worth it. The things that you provide there, because Venus is blessing that. So, but yeah, I definitely think that this is one where it's not necessarily like, because of course we're needing other people to invest in the things that we're getting. But I do think that this is something where, just making sure to have a relationship with money, know how your money's moving, know how things are going, just to keep a ship, or keep a checklist on that. Not being like super anal about it, not hoarding resources, but making sure like just where those things are flowing out. And then paying attention that you were, what am I trying to say? That just paying attention to what you're attracting with that. So those would be just some kind of like rough themes that I would talk about with a person with this placement. You definitely need the rest of the chart to get an idea of how this may be looking. But if you have this placement or know someone who's working with this placement, down in the comment section, let us know how this is going for your money bags. Because yeah, this is a dope one for Venus. And so yeah, I'd love to hear how this is manifested for you, if you feel like sharing that. And if that's something that you want to work more personally with, to kind of look into and explore that more, down in the description box is a link to book a consultation with me. So definitely check that out. And if you have any questions, my email is down there as well. And also, too, there is a couple links for some playlists on the channels that I do. One of them is called The Lunar Shenanigans, and it just talks about the astrology of the moon, what sign it's in, what phase it's in, when the aspects reaches peak, and what the general feel of the energy is going to be, and then occasionally when it goes void of course. And then the other one deals with the sun and the rest of the classical planets, what aspects are forming, what signs are going to be most affected, and how to most practically work with those energies. So Celestial News Weekly, definitely check that out. But until next time, Venus just moved into Cancer, so this is doing some nice stuff in your chart, depending on when you're watching this. But until next time, stay mindful out there. Keep raising that vibration through the roof. And I will catch you on the next one. Later.